Point of fact is there cannot be even remotely anything resembling order in the absence of an order maker. Something has to exist, or someone has to exist to put order into motion. It's not done on its own. Just like how man were incapable of creating commandments for themselves. Man could not have created good for themselves. That is an impossibility. We see what man does immediately when he's thrusted out into the wild, right? We see that example in Cain. Although Abel was righteous, he took the instruction of his parents, Adam and Eve. He took heed of those instructions and he was righteous, but Cain didn't, and he was wroth, jealous. So here you have the establishment of both polemics or axioms of good and evil. The thing about it is, though, even though Adam and Eve set in motion this thing called evil, death, that entered into the world because of their sin, even though that happened, God in his mercy still gave us the exit door to escape evil, right? And he told Cain what to do. Just do good. Just do what I'm telling you to do, and you're going to be all right. But he doesn't. Spat in the face of God and killed his brother. Right? That's just one example of one of the first examples that we have of people making poor judgment calls, poor decision making. But you have to ask yourself why that is. If he could see God or hear God, Cain we're talking about, he's afforded an opportunity that most of us would give anything to have, a direct audience with the Most High God, right? But that speaks of how dark the heart can be, given that we give ourselves over to that darkness. And everyone understands that this kind of decision making can go both ways. You can make a good decision or you could make a bad decision, end up like Cain. It lays the framework of objective morality from the very get-go. This ultimately points to a creator. Not inadvertently either. Directly. Because for objective morality to exist, there must also be a lawgiver to establish them in the first place. Our decision making, the fact that we can even choose good over evil or vice versa, points to God's sovereignty over his creation. Now, he desires that you make the right call, but he's not going to force you to. That's your responsibility. And that's what I'm hitting at whenever people say silly things like, oh, it's all, Jesus did it all. I am completely and utterly imputed his righteousness no matter what I do. But you don't have to look very far to disprove that. Just walk out of your house and go slap somebody in the face and watch them slap you back. What will your grace do for you then? Why, you've got a big red fat hand mark on your face. Nothing. Because what that is the grandiose estimation of the pride of man assuming upon God's grace. But walk outside your house and go do something stupid and watch how you're going to immediately, if not sometime down the road, receive repercussion for your foolish actions. Right? So it's not incumbent upon us to presume on God's mercy. And you see, the same type of people that will say this, that God is unconditionally merciful. Here's the thing about God's conditionality, is that he loved us when we were yet sinners. That's 100% true. Loved us while we were yet sinners. He still gives you the ability to choose righteousness or evil. His grace is that he loved you first. But just because he loved you first doesn't mean that you don't have to walk the path. It doesn't mean that you just all of a sudden point A of the journey becomes point Z without any traveling in between. Even if you got on a plane to fly from where I am in Houston, if I'm going to fly to New York, well, I've got to get on the plane and actually do the process of flying to New York. Right? I don't stand in the place where I'm at and go, well, I'm in New York now. Well, everybody will know that I'm a bloody fool and that I haven't moved at all. That's what once saved, always saved doctrine does to people. It holds them in their place and it prevents them from moving forward, and they lie to themselves and say, I'm at point Z, when they haven't even made the first step yet. That's the problem with that. Because it keeps you from ultimately achieving what God has called you to achieve. This is what Paul talks about when he said, walk in the vocation of your high calling. And that's not easy. It's a fight. It's a challenge. And people who are doing that are not pew sitters. They're doing something for the kingdom. They're serving, in some form or fashion, they're serving God in some way with their lives. Not everybody is called to be the preacher, to be the apostle, the prophet, or however you want to word it, right? Not everybody is called for that. But I guarantee you that everybody in this room who's committed your lives to following the Most High God is doing something with yourself. And you're not just sitting and saying, well, I'm good. I don't have to do anything. It's all about grace. But you see, we cut ourselves short of God's righteousness doing that. Because God knows that if you actually did set your heart to seeking after Him and find Him, how much of a transformation that would be, and how many people that you could affect in a positive way and influence to actually obeying God. And that's what we're supposed to do, right? That's what Jesus said, to be a light to the world. All of us in this room have the potential to be that light to the world.